Good morning, Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy, 98.1 FM. Today, na the program when they talk to the Commissioner for the Anti-Corruption Commission, where na Francis Ben Kefala, where they can tell the public waiting the Commission don't do under in leadership for the past 4 years, where it don't be ACC Commissioner. Well, if people can remember, some time back after the 2018 election, President Dr. Julius Maada being appoint Francis Ben Kefala for be the new ACC commissioner. Well, the Anti-Corruption Commission government be established by an act of parliament for prevent, investigate, prosecute, and self-punish people where the law can find guilty say he mix pan corruption. Well, from we don't take over the office for the past 4 years to now, Francis Ben Kefala don't they try for do some padenting, but for can't tell una the public waiting it don't do for help for get rank for the fight against corruption as Salone. Now that make a day with we in the studio this morning. Good morning, Francis, and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salone.
Very good morning to you, Khadija. Mornings up to you, and morning to the people of Sierra Leone.
All right, so let we look back 4 years down the line. Immediately after the 2018 election, we still say His Excellency the President may appoint you for be the commissioner for the Anti-Corruption Commission. But before you take over that office day, predecessor them be done the way themselves we don't continue with the work for fight corruption. 4 years to now, waiting exactly as ACC commissioner, you don't do na the commission for make sure say you reduce the fight, you reduce corruption as Salone.
Well, thank you. Again, firstly, I will continue to thank the President and people of Sierra Leone for the confidence they put in me, for being in charge of this very important task for the country, for fight corruption. And 4 years down the line, we'll just go back to the day we have been take oath before the President and people of Sierra Leone at State House. And the promise was simple and clear. Corruption don't they embarrass Sierra Leone. Will not be they do well and the indexes that will matter. But they perform very poorly. The reputation of the country be done so damaged that in fact in 2013 we be regarded as the most corrupt country in the world. Clearly by Transparency International, using the standards of measurement of perception. So now on that background, the president put confidence in me, and before he appointed me, I remember we get a conversation me and him 101, and the position was clear. We have to change the story of Sierra Leone. We have to reposition it, and the lot has fallen on you to take on this responsibility and do it. Let nothing stand in your way. That came directly from the president, and I start this job in 2018, and 4 years down the line, Khadija, clearly we don't do this. The reputation of Sierra Leone today when it comes to the fight against corruption in Africa is one of the best. We are one of the countries that where they cite as an example of a country who don't reinvent itself. In the indexes there will be they perform poor, will be they done in places that will be terrible. Transparency International will don't jump 15 places. MCC score of corruption will be they fail at 49% at that time of my appointment. We jumped first to 71%, we jumped to 79%, we jumped to 81%, now we need to 83%. And of course, when Afrobarometer be measured in 2015 to 17, the prevalence of corruption at Sierra Leone, then we say corruption within Sierra Leone at 70%. Now they mean that only 30% be uncorrupt, 70% corrupt. Today we don't reverse that entirely or mostly. Now the same Afrobarometer do the same survey and they confirm say corruption don't reduce from 70% to 40%. These things I am giving you, then see they are not to play things that would not happen for Sierra Leone. Then things they are, if you compare them to other countries, it's almost magical. People can't believe what is happening in Sierra Leone, how well we don't go about the fight against corruption, how in so short a time we're not able to change the image and reputation of this country. And of course, we not try for talk say we don't delete corruption out of Sierra Leone. We not try for talk say corruption not there at all. But one thing is clear, and I sure say many citizens know that the way how things be there before, not to the same when it comes to corruption. People they're more aware about issues of corruption. People them when they engage in corruption know say there are clear consequences, and they also know say there is an institution led by a commissioner way they do invest for deal with corruption. Of course, we get a president, we get zero tolerance for corruption.
So looking at changing the negative perception of the country in corruption status to Usawidi now, 4 years down the line from the difference in the way you don't highlight changes the way don't make now report and scorecard them where they show the country in status on corruption. One would they say a lot done the way you and your team now ACC don't do. Now take view and listen at them through. When are the things them so where the Anti-Corruption Commission do we make within at this stage where according to you how corruption is turned national not to say it again?
Well, basically we build a very strong anti-corruption fight on 4 pillars: prevention, public education, investigation, and prosecution. One thing we will do during this period, we make sure say all of them, because they are pillars, none is more emphasized than the other. We push all of them through. So for example, for public education, we build one of the most powerful public education system. Okay, we get the outreach unit where they go to communities, villages, towns, and cities and speak to people. We get a public education unit where then they for educate the public, waiting at misappropriation, waiting at corruption, waiting really not to corruption and things like that. We also get the PR unit. The PR unit now for present the positives, present a proper narrative, attack negative propaganda, and make sure say people them get waiting that the good work with the ACC do both internally and internationally. Then of course we get the general public relations system when Mrs. F the lead for educating the public. And that's not just public education no more. If you come to prevention, we will do one of the most widespread systems and processes reviews on the African continent. Ministries, department of agencies, with the goodie, with the check within the system there, with they identify opportunities for corruption, with they identify monopolies, with they identify where there is concentration of power and concentration of decision making, we dismantle them. We give them policies, we go make sure say they reduce corruption in their department that they. We also get integrity management committees. Every institution get their own small ACC inside there, and that small ACC they therefore advise them on the evils of corruption and draw to their attention to things where they happen. Also, we also work on audit reports for make sure say waiting the auditor general recommendations that they say on issues of prevention, we carry them on. That's not prevention. Then we come to investigation. Of course, then everybody knows we use some of the most powerful tools for fight corruption. We get a Scorpion squad, when an elite squad, where they move in real time when corruption they happen, they know they wait, then go and arrest people there on the spot. You've seen videos, you've seen images, you've seen a lot of commentaries on this. But we more generally get the investigations department at the ACC with very professional, hard-working people, where they make sure say they forensically check what they happen when allegation of corruption done there, and they advise the commission on waiting for do, and usually we can come out with a press release. Then of course we get prosecution where we also charge cases to court, and we prosecution rate very high. We charge more cases to court now. We prosecute more cases to court now, and of course we success rate in court extremely high. In the 4 years where I done in the ACC, we don't only lost 5 cases, and all the rest we don't win, which is about over 85% of our cases that are charged to court we have won. Although I can hear people that consider talk say ACC they lost their case, and not say they get that data, but we don't have a data that shows that we are losing all our cases. Yes, we're not able to win all the time. We may lose one of them, but I can assure you, say, with prosecution rates is one of the best, and it's one of the reasons why we are doing well in all indexes. Because when we charge to court, the chances are higher that we will succeed than fail.
All right, you start for talk about the gains them where Salone don't they make internationally in the fight against corruption. You talk about the different indicator them
Very
where
correct.
Salone don't they come down to different places them compared to how we be there before.
Yes.
You make mention of the Afrobarometer report and all the indicator there. So let we try for be practical now, because you can make gains internationally, but within the country, the people already help for fight this corruption. Then say for CC, the indicator there. So we Salone they make the gains internationally. How it don't they reflect na Salonia? How the people don't they take the fight against corruption? How much they don't they appreciate the current ACC boss with in team? They really don't they make inroads in the fight.
Well, first of all, let us go back and lay the foundation. The international index system not based on international opinion. Now, the same people of Sierra Leone that they ask, Afrobarometer, for example, they go from household to household and ask the people of Sierra Leone and say, for example, where you go for go na hospital, you pay bribe. Where you go na NRA for pay tax. you do this. Where you want service, you dey get them. Okay, so basically that they confirm. So the people that they confirm to and say they say corruption not there, but then they say it all reduce. So somebody will be they say I be they pay 10 times before, go say now I they pay only 4 times. So now that measure they now they talk about. So it's international indicators, but it is based on national perception of the very people of Sierra Leone when they act, and the same thing transparency they do, and the same thing Afrobarometer they do, and of course MCC scorecards they draw information from various institutions they like the World Bank, IMF, Brookings, all of them they take data from what they happen inside the country. So I just need to bring that to your attention. Say international data not mean say now waiting the international people that they say no, now waiting the very Salone people that they say now they use for do the indicator day. But you they ask more about the trickle down effect of we work. How would they do the trickle down to the people of Sierra Leone? Now, you see, when it comes to economic terms, in economics, things like the fight against corruption is macroeconomics.
Okay.
Okay? Not to that basic economic where the person will feel and in pocket immediately. It get a long-term effect. Sierra Leone don't suffer from corruption for so long that now that we try for reverse that scourge, and clearly we are winning in that regard because every data, every information confirms that there is a reversal in the scourge of corruption and how things are going. The effect and benefit of that may not necessarily be immediate. It may be long term. It may be short term. It depends on many other factors. So for example, we are now and fuel prices they go up, and every day I wake up in the morning, I hear somebody say, oh, anti-corruption, they do nothing about this fuel price business, therefore look inside. That is not the work of the fight against corruption. No. We will just make sure say the decision making when it comes to the fuel and supply of fuel is not corrupt. But when it comes to the economics of ensuring that, for example, if government for do subsidies, or therefore remove subsidies, or therefore apply other social safety nets or make sure say the issues of the price control not affect the citizens, not to the ACC go do that one day.
Okay.
But the ACC go continue for do in your mandate, and of course, like we all say now, like a house of cards. If all the cards then start falling together, then things will change. So the people might wait till we will get short-term effect. Because even the fight against corruption can sometimes lead to economic difficulty because of the shockwave they create in the system. Some people that they will benefit on corruption on the tertiary and secondary level. The one that within a village where them people they're very corrupt and government officials they will the thief and send to them. If that government officials are not the thief again, they only rely on the salary, you know, go send the money in a village to them.
Okay.
So then dependent then they on the secondary level, then self can sometimes the shock can meet them and they can feel say things are really hard for us.
Continue.
Back to you,
Okay.
Commissioner. Will they take break? We'll come. We'll continue for talk to the ACC Commissioner today. They with we in the program. They give listener them a report card for the past 4 years. We don't be ACC Commissioner waiting and what he don't do by the fight against corruption. And in case you just tune in, we still get Francis Ben Kefala with we in the studio. We're the Commissioner for the Anti-Corruption Commission. Today in the program, they talk about different things that we don't do by the fight against corruption. For the past 4 years now, we don't do as ACC Commissioner. Mr. Commissioner, let's go back to the zero tolerance, where you say His Excellency the President being it, and people can remember immediately when he assumed office, he declared a war, say he defeat corruption, and he put you before as the person participate. Looking back 4 years to now, in terms of percentage, how you go rate say President Bio in government don't do in the fight against this corruption, and considering the bold statements we make to Salone people and say he don't declare a war on corruption?
Now, firstly, people then they would measure waiting to happen. So, for example, I don't talk about international indexes. Make a come to the local, the PFM consortium, we led by the Center for Accountability and Rule of Law. We do a survey right across the question on all issues of corruption, from bribery to prevalence to other things. Them, and that report they come out, and also it shows there is a serious improvement in the fight against corruption under the time when President Bio don't be president. So both local and international confirm improvement. If you ask me, I will tell you that that's a vote of serious confidence from independent sources that the president in promise don't they on track and it will be realized. Therefore, if you ask me for put President Bio on a marker on the fight against corruption, I will give him 8.5.
You say serious improvement since we President Bio don't be president. Now, let we look at this serious improvement we talk about. Another school of thought feels say the kind of corruption cases them we don't they come up, the kind of corruption revelation them through the audit report, where don't they come out under President Bio in regime. Now one where many people believe say ever happen. For example, audit reports don't reveal say yes, corruption they happen na the presidency, issues of double dipping, issues of receipt forgery, and all them things there. So for a president, we say he gets zero tolerance for corruption.
Yes, but I mean, corruption allegations and one thing. Waiting somebody do about another. President Bio don't empower the institution responsible for fight corruption for do the job. It also allow probably why we they get issues them when you be area about issues coming about auditing the presidency in Sierra Leone at all. It not be the day. And not to foresee auditor, then the same auditor general be did it. But you be ever a report about auditing presidency when President Nkrumah be there in power, or other presidents then before him when Chiankaba be there in power. Now because President Bio believe in the fight against corruption, he allow auditors department for come inside SEF office for investigate. Me SEF within a ACC. A number of times there were issues that don't come up around the presidency. I don't send team, then go meet with the secretary to president who request for files, document, then they give it. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is there's a difference between corruption issues that come up. Corruption issues will always come up. People them always go do things and we require a question. Now waiting the pausing allow for be done about it. On that issue the way they ask, when it come up, when I get meeting with the president, they tell me say, Ben, Mrs. F no know how this thing happened. I traveled, went through my medical, people and they were responsible for them things they had, they pay for them. I come back na Sierra Leone only for your recent issues and they around them thing they. So Mrs. F want let you look into them and give me an answer as to what thing that happened. So a president who says that, to me, as far as me see him, is really a man who is committed to what he says. And we can tell you this, and I tell you this from a point of view, and this is purely from a personal perspective.
Okay.
When it comes to the issues, then the president is not at all protecting anybody. But you not go expecting that the president go give receipt for the hotel who say sleep. Do you expect that? But he himself wants to understand what is happening, and the auditors that they pick him up. We see no more we go tell one another that with capacity that the ACC not go able to take care of all audit issues at once. Now make they put out a serialized report all the time on what they do. But clearly that issue they will happen in the presidency is one of the issues which we are looking into, and we'll come out with our findings the moment we complete.
All right, we continue with the program. Good morning, Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy, 98.1 FM. We still get the ACC Commissioner between and the studio, Francis Ben Kefala, where they talk about waiting he don't do for the past 4 years, where he don't do as ACC Commissioner. They look back at some of the things them where he don't do in terms of investigations and self-prosecution them where the ACC don't they do. Mr. Commissioner, earlier I asked you about the fight against corruption, especially where it come at the office of the president. And let's take you back to last year, December, where the audit report's been just come on. You've been saying all the one them where they name the inside this audit report, the ACC they try for conduct an investigation, and when I go invite some of them people there, so for come at the ACC, some might spend Christmas na detention.
Correct.
That na be exact words them.
Correct.
Based on the investigations there, so na don't do. When exactly the public go hear from the ACC about the outcome of all the investigations here?
No, but the public they already hear. Will they put out press releases on the outcome of all audit recommendations? So, for example, when the 2019 COVID-19 audit report been come out in 2020, okay, we do what you would do. We put out press releases detailing what you would don't do, what you would don't recover for their laptop. Them we recover 254 million. We make sure so the people that will be there in charge that dismiss them from the office will be there. We also return the laptop them to the NACOVAC for continue for do the work. The same thing about the generator. The same thing about the high-end gadgets them when they buy in the ministry. So, and inside the general audit report, like the 2019 and 2020 audit report, the same thing they happen. If you go on our website now, you go see series of press releases. In fact, the only press release that they pull, we get about 4 to 5 pages every time. Because when they get different, we take Ministry of Agriculture, we take Ministry of Health, we will take EDSA, we will take Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Finance. We list down what they don't do. What are they supposed to pay? Waiting on I can tell you now that most of audit issues then we treat them under what we call civil recovery. Civil recovery different from criminal recovery. Civil recovery in a way like how mayor we try for talk to let mayor pay back. Okay, because we agree with the audit report in recommendation say wetin mayor do wrong, let it pay back. So now under the civil recovery process, we dey go back to them people and they say una pay back. So if una dey say anti-corruption don't return several billion to government, or anti-corruption don't recover 100 billions for government, it is from those civil processes where the anti-corruption also get power for do. So basically, what I try for say, for just conclude, Khadija, we are doing a lot about those issues, and of course, we inform the public the moment we progressively done with the files. Even yesterday, we conclude 3 audit files that we had already give recommendations them for notify the parties about them and for take them forward.
Earlier, I be ask you how much the people where you dey fight for end corruption appreciate your work. And I believe say you now one person we very active na social media through your tweets them, your Facebook page, and you don't they see certain people them where don't they come out when a Salone people them where them feel say they your way for vent out, let them get your attention na the social media. And when you watch at that trend, it clearly shows say most people not too satisfied with the way how you as ACC commissioner they go on with the fight against corruption. Many people believe say in the fight against corruption you get certain people them we the favor.
Unfortunately, I go disagree with you.
Okay.
I think say most people, in fact the majority of people, actually appreciate the work what they do. If you go on the news feed, on the things that were they post, on the fight against corruption, on the progress and the successes, you will see say there are far more people who believe, people then they will understand say fighting corruption is difficult. But one thing they all agree with is that the effort that is being made is visible, is clear. The successes that are being recorded are there. They may have concerns over 1 or 2 issues. They may have disagreements over 1 or 2 issues, but they communicate which is fair, which is fine. But I disagree, say most people believe, say, with the fight against corruption, the only thing where they happen is, then get, of course, a small set of people where sometimes they get the power of the media at their fingertips, where they can just sit down and write something. Sometimes you not get facts, you not get data, you not get information. Then sometimes it's just based on their emotion. They put them out there, and or sometimes they will go vent waiting they feel, bereft of facts and information. And sometimes then people that they can feel saying that they're not the country of Sierra Leone. No, me, I don't go all over the country, from every village, town, and the city. Sit down and speak with the people on the fight against corruption and the progress in the fight against corruption. I get one of the largest following on social media, on all platforms, compared to every other person, including the very people in the way they talk about.
So
they do not determine the impulse of Sierra Leone. The people of Sierra Leone, they want them. We understand. We logical. We understand the constraints and difficulties of the fight against corruption. Might say yes, we want Ben and the team at ACC for do more, but more generally than believe say we are doing very well, and the evidence those people that waiting on social media where they go and vent them in the day, they cannot argue against evidence. If the evidence is showing that progress is being made, success is being registered, who side now then they get their own data? Who side they get their own information? The fight against corruption is measurable. And anything we measurable, doable. If, for example, a full barometer for can confirm say that corruption prevalence will be there Salone in 2017, when it be 70%, not increase to 90%, trust me, I don't agree say yes, something is wrong. But if they don't come and measure, say corruption don't reduce from 70% to 40%, Khadija, why have I go listen to one person on social media against the clear evidence we did? And then they will get for deal with. A society has to be built on the foundations of truth. And the truth is that progress is being made in the fight against corruption. And everybody, everywhere, no index, nothing at the world, whether local or international, no survey, no day, whether local or international, we don't confirm, say, Sierra Leone is far better off in the fight against corruption than it used to be before.
So
we not don't defeat corruption into. I'm not going to tell you say corruption don't disappear entirely, but we don't do a lot more now than ever before.
So looking at the indicator that we don't make or lay so much emphasis on, let me come back, home, to people understanding a narrative of how you don't address corruption. You think then concerning the way people can raise one, get a view if you say you focus on past administration, people rather than the present one with so many corruption allegations don't come up for certain government to command them.
Yeah, but again, I they ask people them where they say that kind of thing that they one of all, when somebody says something, let it back and up with evidence, okay? The last time they go to some stakeholders, they go tell them, say, me na only the past administration they go after. One of the stakeholders, then a very placed person, not to one, several of them don't go to office to me, including the IMF, the World Bank, all those people. It's simple. I print out a spreadsheet of cases them on the past administration, cases they all they do in the current administration, including everything, including the audit reports they all don't act on from 2019-18 to 2021. When the person look the data, why gam? He looked me and asked me, say, but why are these people saying this? 15 cases in the past in the past administration to 225 cases in the present administration. Then you say we only deal with the past administration. Then I ask the person a simple question. Every survey shows incremental progress in the fight against corruption for 4 years. People that don't come on a power in 2018. April, not to even foresee them come on a power in October. They come on a power in 2018. Now they are going to go after and will they make progress in the fight against corruption?
So
is the Scorpio squad raised against people who are no longer in government? No, that is not true. Is the systems and processes reviews that we are currently doing in ministries and departments and agencies for people that we sit on at the oaths? That is not correct. Is the progress we are making with prosecutions in court, the cases that they charge to court, now people are no more in the past administration, is not true. The truth of the matter is, yes, there were people in the past administration who were fantastically corrupt. And yes, we investigated them. We charged some of them to court. We recovered monies from them. But that was a long time ago. This was in 2018 and some part of 2019.
So you say
coming forward,
Mr. Commissioner,
we don't do a lot more about the current administration than we can ever do about
this analysis. Not just for protect your job or not the reality of waiting the between current administration and past.
I invite 98.1 for going to my office after this interview. Make her give them a list of cases they all don't do in the past.
Mr. Commissioner, apart from this accusation, we did try for clear, so
yes,
we certain set of the public beliefs say you investigations on corruption are just on members of the opposition. Again, another set of people they would disbelieve say you fight against corruption, you rather they go after people them, we're not a government official them, for example. Teachers them, school picking, they go through public exams, whilst the corruption they happen at public offices them where you are aware of, but they go after them people.
But again, that is also not true. In fact, not factually, completely lack merit, because the definition of the people that will get jurisdiction over a public officer. Okay? Anybody who not a public officer will not get jurisdiction over them. The reason why would they do anything about teachers and principals is because they are public officers within the meaning of the Anti-Corruption Act. But how many cases they do really we get for do with teachers and students? Now court right now we only get 2 cases who don't charge na court who involve teachers and students. The rest of the cases, where they up to 60 cases, concern people in government, directors, heads of departments of agencies, ministry personnel, people that will hold very important positions then in government.
This present administration.
So how in the present administration, of course,
okay,
is the head of the Salone Maritime Agency administration not standing trial? Is the former head of that very institution not standing trial? Have we not tried people in the Ministry of the Ministry of Information about the money they stole? They were found guilty. They are still serving sentence in prison. Did we not charge people in the Administrator and Registrar General's office on issues of corruption? We not investigate issues in the Ministry of Agriculture. We not charge people there in the judiciary. Did we not charge the Master and Registrar of the judiciary who is standing trial? Did we not charge the accountant? The accountant? No, wait.
But
wait for me for go over. No. Let me go over the detail. Now the public are they talk for. It is this same public. It is this same public. All the names they are the call. So where would they charge to court? We put out press releases on them. We come to radio. We get one of the most powerful public relations systems at the ACC. We get Patrick Sandy and the team who are doing very well. They will come to radio stations. They will go. They will publicize these things. So if the public is hearing this, and then they still say, one, will they only go after the past administration, when the evidence is clearly totally not correct.
But you think say
When they say that only teachers they will they charge na court. When we only get 2 cases we get for do with teachers, but we get over 70 cases we get for do with highly placed people in society.
So
what do you
why
expect
now
the ACC for do? We can only continue doing our job.
You think say the public satisfy with the way how the ACC don't they handle, especially
the
cases
public extreme the public majority
get for do with their interest cases the way they think
majority of members of the public, well-meaning Sierra Leoneans, very happy with the way the ACC don't conduct cases.
So why some still concerned, especially cases they will get for do with high-placed people, especially political people? For example, the outcome of the investigation they do on the office of the First Lady. After the investigation and press releases will come out from the ACC, you see a certain set of people again, they take to the social media, they vent out some of them concerned, especially with the way how the ACC they go about some of the investigation there.
Now,
and
listen, Khadija, listen, the ACC not a persecution agency. The ACC not a persecute. The ACC not a do a personal battle for people as well. The ACC is a professional institution. We're supposed to get balance. Not to because a particular member of a public or a small set of people them get a young agenda and they want target particular people in society, they want instrumentalize the ACC and use the ACC for do them battle. Me as commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission, I say this again on the radio. It will not happen whilst I am commissioner.
So you say majority.
And no, I need to clarify this issue because you make a specific reference to the office of the First Lady. I need to clarify that again. When that allegation came against the issue of the wife of the president, a very highly placed person in society, first of all, let we agree, say the ACC, for the first time in the history of Sierra Leone, go in and investigate that issue. For investigate the wife of a president, not ever happen in any African country.
You will really do investigation?
Anyway, oh yes, we do a thorough investigation, take statements, review papers, request documents, go with the ministry. If you go to ministry, talk with the Accountant General's office. We call them, we do a thorough review, forensic analysis on all finances that have been given to the office of the First Lady from the days of Ahmed Tijan Kaba to President Bio. And we find out, say, this office where people that be the alleged say not they get money at all, we find out, say, under President Kaba, they give money to the office of the First Lady. Under President Kuroma, they may give a lot of money. In fact, they give a lot more money. At that time, we will do the analysis to the office of the First Lady under President Kuroma than they give to the office of the First Lady under President Bio. So we look at them and talk and say, look, this is not a system issue. Let we try for fix waiting they happen with this office since people that they give money anyway, other that will begin criminalize them and do things. But waiting they be one man go arrest the First Lady and go lock them up for money we receive. So what do I do about all the other money then we other First Ladies then we don't refuse? They are not criminal. She's the only criminal. I have to be balanced in my work, and we stand by with findings in that regard for say what happened with the First Lady at that time was not criminal. Is she above the law? No, she's not above the law. In fact, she subjected herself to the law, and we investigated and came out to the conclusion.
Continue for day with you. In case you just tune in, you listen to Francis Ben Kefala, Commissioner at the Anti-Corruption Commission. We don't they take we through the thing the way the Anti-Corruption Commission don't they do as way for address corruption na the country, and they talk this in line with the 4 year we don't take na office as the ACC Commissioner.
All right, we continue with the program. Good morning, Salone, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy, 98.1 FM. We still get with we, Francis Ben Kefala, in the studio, in the ACC Commissioner, where they talk about different cases them where it don't investigate, and say they talk about against them where it don't make party fight against corruption for the past 4 years, where it don't do another office day. Mr. Commissioner, now we can look now about corruption allegation them we get for do with less. The first one I will take you now the one get for do with the former Minister of Education, we now the Minister of Labor. We Salone people and BC during the intending day where the ACC be investigates, charge and go courts where we make the president be step on my side. And then they, according to you, you say you be get evidences them against the minister, but the procedure the way the then Attorney General Priscilla Schwartz been say for do you not be agree with. You been say if other AG come, you go continue with this particular case. We don't see outside 2 AG they don't come now, but still not yet from the ACC. What exactly that other case they?
Well, firstly, the case be under review. So during the time of the other AG, we will be still review for knowing what happened. Because 2 things happened to that case. One, the Attorney General then refused to give with fiat for do the trial by judge alone. And then they may make the case not able to go forward, and the judge be threatening for to take the case out of court and all these things. So for give myself room for looking to him, I may could be withdraw him, other than the judge go through him out of court to dismiss the case. Bring him back to ACC. The second thing will happen is that we get difficulty of dealing with the evidence. The cabinet secretariat now did the evidence been turned on. And we can't find out say if we don't pursue on trial with that case day, the kind of cooperation we will be feel say we will get initially when we start the case, we don't get them going forward. Because the people that will be rely on the cabinet secretariat for able really bring out the issues, them begin show signs say they will not be reliable witnesses. So the case will go back to ACC, with prosecution department review them and come out with the conclusion say not a case will for pursue trial of or for use alternative processes within the ACC for deal with. Now the alternative processes then they now will they try for looking to.
But people still said the president be reinstated back in position.
Yeah, the president reinstated in position because the matter was no longer going on in court. That is the point.
So, in line with this issue of some theory for the rise on alleged corruption, the recent one for the Rise Stomach Bomb project, where we see there is a lot of topic of discussion, and owners have pulled a press release say we're not going to investigate into this matter. In line with that particular case, let family know people who listen and watch, who stage on then investigating the Stomach Bomb Rise project?
Well, we get an aspect of issues we get for do with supply of seedling and other materials them for the rice project. We find out say there was a claim of duplication. Say partners that they can donate things them to the ministry. Then the ministry can also get their own supply systems within the system. So they will give consultancy, or they will give some supply contract to somebody who for supply things. And the allegation was that instead of it supply the things they way for supply, it just go to the ministry store and one use the same things they would in the ministry store and present them as if after the person has been paid billions of loans. The investigation is ongoing. The good thing about that is that the payment had not been made. We intercepted before anything. And I believe say there will be a conclusion soon on that issue. But I can confirm to the public say yes, we are investigating that issue. And first of all, the investigation came in at the right time because no payment had been made, which make them not able to carry out whatsoever plan anybody will get for do, if at all.
Let we look at issues them where you don't begin for investigate for the past 4 years. You don't give highlights of different one them. Also, when you go point out that the public no say now one of the case then this will be a challenge for you. By the end of the day, you go use them again for being your success story for the past 4 years.
A lot of cases that don't happen. A lot of things that we don't do. A lot of trials and. Generally, me not they put cases on a scale of which one are high or low. Me just believe say any case we get corruption is a serious case, and we will prosecute them and extent. So a lot of them are there. Some of them still go on trial. Some of them, like you say, get challenges. So, for example, the New York investigation, we had challenges of having to go to New York, verify what happened there, get statement from. Just imagine going to America to take a statement from an American citizen on issues that we get for do with Salone. When he just feels they feel like they don't have any, they're not supposed to even cooperate with me. So all those challenges were there. I remember when that issue was brought up and I was called upon to intervene and to look into them. I was thinking, where do we start from? This is New York, Manhattan. That is Sierra Leone. But we end up good there, we go investigate, come up with clear outcomes, don't charge people that are caught, they are standing trial, I think it's one of those things you can look at and say a lot is being done really.
So looking at some
We even get case who we get for just imagine we get case who go as far as China for go investigate.
So
we send 3 investigators to China for investigate the Chinese system. I mean those things outward if you look at them it's nearly impossible.
so it's like you're applying the strategy going to another country where everything different in their own system and way. Waiting Anti-Corruption Commission can apply for getting the fact on such cases where they investigate.
Well, the thing is, training is very important. Now, we could always give we investigators and other staff them continued professional training in work, and of course, multi-jurisdictional training is one of the things where they can benefit from. And they already know what you know. So some countries that the way you go there, first of all, you get to go present in a public education, you go pa. Because if you go tell, let's say you go investigate, then they revoke your visa and things like that. So it's really out of training, out of cooperation. Sometimes then they, for example, they do the investigation involving this Professor Najala, we get for send a team to Nigeria. But that one then will be more a relationship with the Nigerian EFCC. We receive, we host, and work with the team, then go to them universities there, Ilorin, deep inside the countryside, which we investigators them, or go check certain farms, facts and details, and come out with a report. So really not training now they do that one day. I think say the ACC team get very professional staff who have been trained over here. One of the good things that happen with the ACC now the retention. People that knew on the ACC from 2001 up to now, some 2005, 2004 up to now. So they don't get a lot of experiences along the line, and that one they really help with the work of the
One
commission.
other thing we don't come out to the public now, the issue of fake degree and other academic qualification, where we see over like 2 months now, we get a whistleblower, we come up with this issue and identify people in high places for say, then get fake degree or alleged say they use some of them qualification and they forget them position. And this raises a lot of topic of discussion and people call on the ACC for investigate short thing. Don't come out with waiting, una think about this and don't make on your own point. But again, more names send on the pop-up and una don't also say una go continue for investigate.
Yes.
In that particular area of fake degree and other academic qualification where ACC don't take up for investigate. Let listener and viewer then know what really happen in a particular case them they or issue.
Well, let me first clarify. Let me say the ACC say no, they do nothing about fake degrees. That is not true. In fact, we say they do everything about fake degrees. We just say institutions, then they will get responsibility. The tertiary education institution, the Public Sector Reform Commission, the HRMO, other institutions then before they call their establishment, we're responsible for vet and verify degrees. The ACC talks say we not have primary responsibility for vet and verify the credentials of public officers, but we'll not talk so they do nothing about that. The ACC be don't set up a task force for look into examination malpractice. Then they support the institutions. Then me myself at the lecture at Frabe College. I've been here for go Frabe College for go verify my credentials, there, including the one that I get from America and from England. From England, I've been here for go verify them and they do the verification process. So every institution, first of all, get the responsibility for do a vetting of their staff. ACC be do vetting of your own staff. One staff will be the Unimark, we talk say you get degree, immediately he was dismissed. Because you know go to study there, you say you get degree. That's not complete. So that was done in 2020. So we were already prepared before this whole allegation came. We'll be very sure say nobody not in our ACC will get fake degree because of it. So every institution supposed to do that day. And the good thing is after we press release, we'll call on institutions for do this right across the board. Every institution is now doing that. But also with the follow-up with investigation, and that make you see we come out with the first one with Ibrahim Sori. Most likely by Friday we complete the investigation. Well, we don't complete, but we now try for workout on coming out in public about what happened at NATCOM. But let me give you this, just not NATCOM alone, one man, Ronnie Cabo, where they accuse say get fake degree as admin director. Investigation alone don't cost the commission over 40 million euros. For go Jala University, check things, refer to other institutions, then it don't cost 2 hours and hours because investigation not very straightforward. Name differentials. A1 name Brima. You go see his document with a BRAAIMADD. You go see some document get wrong. You will not. So we get for cross check that thing and then why?
So it's only revelation there. So we find out.
We get for even talk to. I've been go. Let me just complete this. We be even get for. I've been get for talk to somebody who be in a class with her where they all the way Mauritius for find out whether indeed it's true not being classmate. The professor will supervise at the university. We begin for look for him. They say this Senegal, we send a Senegal, go look for him. We can't find out, say, if he don't come out Senegal, he don't come back Salone. we get for trace am, we call am na ACC, he can't make statement. We don't talk to over 15 of people that will be there at the class that year. So basically, why are they go through all of this? And for me, the public knows say for investigate them things they are not easy. Sometimes they think that you can just do it in 1 day or 2 days.
With
it takes
all
resources.
It
takes
people.
Say
the investigation time. Be able for discover and how much una don't put so much finances and effort into all the investigation there. So personally, you think say the effort of the whistleblower it been timely at this point where don't make the ACC don't go back into the education sector, try for do the investigation then?
No, there was no whistleblower. The whole issue of degree started with the tertiary. Now the tertiary education commission go arrest them people they now under the mango. Now the tertiary education commission first of all stop them from carrying out the graduation. Now the tertiary education commission call the police. Now the tertiary education commission go lock them place. The whistleblower just saw an opportunity. Well, the person owner they call whistleblower just saw an opportunity and then he fell into it.
But the name he just mentioned, so now
but for saying that the whistleblower now him bring this issue of is not true. Let's give institutions the credit they deserve. It was the tertiary education commission who called the police on the issue of fake degrees being issued by Dominion University. The whole Dominion saga did not start with a single whistleblower.
But this person
started with an
investigation. The name just same whistleblower bring and come up.
The Rooney Brima also, we just mentioned so.
No. The issue of allegation against Brima Ronnie Cabo was brought to my attention by a different source after their issues and they all come up. Okay. There is a source, I know him. He brought it to say that there is somebody at NATCO who said beyond the doubt. I think say probably the same kinds of people may have brought this to the attention of the whistleblower, and the whistleblower said go on Facebook because he knows say in you they live. But there are people that they call whistleblower, want to be careful of them because some of them. Me one thing me know that somebody like that one day. Where they just go now, easy for just to do it right now Facebook and smear people.
Okay.
But when it comes to the work of the anti-corruption, we are not professionals there. When we point finger at somebody and say this person here get fake degrees, we have to be sure of it because it's capable of destroying the person forever. So we not go just act on any whim, any jack. We just don't begin right on kiting at Facebook and we feel say this now whistleblower. Therefore, ACC for jumping. No, we're a professional institution. We're supposed to keep with balance and we cannot be led by the nose.
Thank you very much, Mr. ACC Commissioner Francis Ben Kefala. We joined me at the studio this morning. Can talk about various investigations them way you they do and self give update to the public, but certain investigation that we don't complete. Hopefully, where you they take 5 years back the office, you go come back and read the report card. To
oh yes, end of tenure.
All right.
I look forward to it.
Okay. Well, many thanks to you. Francis Ben Kefala, Commissioner of the Anti-Corruption Commission, will join me inside the program. Well, at this edition of the program, Good Morning Salone, they left you as always, Alex Lawrence Roma and Michael Samula produced this edition of the program, Good Morning Salone. Osman Kamara make una get we and see we live on our Facebook page. Moses DJ Lava make una get we out there as he give technical support. We will bring this edition come to you this Wednesday morning. May us up to you, Calendar say blessed day and bye bye.
And Mina Karija Bangura, they wish you all a wonderful day.